In the beginning of Parshas Korach, there is a really tremendous lesson that is learned from the actions of Moshe Rabbeinu, the words of Moshe Rabbeinu, that really serve as a lesson for many of us to this day. Something that we apply to our lives on many times a regular basis. Sometimes we strive to, and sometimes we're not able to. And the lesson is derived from the interaction between Moshe and Korach. Korach and his followers, 250 followers, challenge the leadership, the authority, the authenticity of Moshe Rabbeinu and his brother Aaron of being the Kohen. And Korach says to Moshe and Aaron, you shouldn't be the leaders, there should be other leaders. Everyone's considered to be holy, you're not special, more special than anyone else. So Moshe hears this, and the first thing he does is that he's shocked. Vayishma Moshe, vayipol alpanav, he falls on his face. And then he realizes he has to respond in some way. So what is his response? Vayidaber el Korach, he speaks to Korach, v'al kol adaso lemor, and his entire gathering, his entire group, the 250 people, and he says to them, Boker, in the morning, V'yoda Hashem es asher lo v'es hakadosh v'hikri ve'lav, and Hashem will reveal who he considers to be holy to him, and he will bring them close to him, to Hashem, v'es asher yivchar bo yakri ve'lav, and whomever Hashem will choose, that person will become close to the Ribbon Shalom. Now the question really is, why did Moshe not deal with the challenge to his leadership on the spot? Why did Moshe not have Korach and all of his people stand and do the very same thing that they were going to do the next day, do it immediately? Why does Moshe say, Boker, tomorrow morning? Why allow things to percolate even further? So Rashi explains to us. First, Rashi tells us that there was apparently some inebriation that had taken place, and that wouldn't be respectful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that people who weren't in their full straight mind would be in front of Hashem at that moment and reveal how they felt. That was the first thing. But there Rashi seems to push that aside and say that Moshe's intention when saying that was Vehu hayam iskaven lidchosa. Moshe intended on pushing them off, meaning pushing off Korach and his followers, Shema yachzeru bahem, in the hopes that they would come the next morning and they would say to Moshe and Aaron, we've given thought, we've slept on it, and we realize that our actions were inappropriate, they were in error, and we'd like to take back the challenge that we asserted toward your leadership. Now Moshe really hoped that they would be able to sit and think and recognize the errors of their ways, but in reality, as the Medrash tells us, that they were constantly, these individuals, Korach and his Eidah, they would stay up all night and thinking how to really give it to Moshe and Aaron, to give them zingers, to try to uproot their leadership. So while Moshe hoped that they would be able to think with greater clarity by sleeping on it, unfortunately that didn't take place, and their lives weren't spared. The following day Hashem did reveal who was his chosen, and Moshe and Aaron, of course, were selected, and Korach and his Eidah, his followers, were all consumed by the ground. They all died in this ceremony, which was really a confrontation that took place. The lesson is a very powerful one. How many times do we think to ourselves, or do others tell us, when it comes to a major decision that we have to make, or when it comes to someone who did something that may have hurt us, that we say, let me sleep on it and I'll respond in the morning? Because it gives us the ability to sort of calm ourselves down in order that we be able to think and to respond with clarity. Sometimes we're able to do so. Other times there's something that controls us and we're unable to do so. But the core of this lesson really comes from the idea brought by Moshe Rabbeinu in the hopes of saving Korach and his followers. That here Moshe could have decided at the instant just to get rid of them, but he wanted to give them a chance to see their mistakes. So we should also give ourselves a chance, not chas v'shalom, God forbid, to see our mistakes, but to make sure that we have proper clarity when making an important decision. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.